And welcome back to another episode of Dogs on the Couch, where everybody's allowed to have an opinion. It does not matter if you played the game you were watching. So you're allowed to have an opinion as well. Let's get into it, man. We had the first day of any type of practicing, whatever that could take place, with the Browns at their facility. Of course, we had notable names there: Shedeur Sanders, Deshaun Watson. Also, some notable names that were not there: Myles Garrett, Jerry Jeudy. I think the media is making a bigger deal out of the Myles Garrett thing than probably should be. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, he kind of doesn't show up to the voluntary stuff every year. Don't think he showed up last year, and ironically, he ended up breaking the single season sack record. So I don't really think it's a big deal, and neither does Todd Monken. Todd Monken said he'd love for him to be there, but I mean, it's 100% voluntary, and that he expects that whenever the guys do get there, that they'll be in shape, they'll be ready to go. And Monken said he's going to be fired up to have them when they do get there. So it kind of is what it is. I did want to touch on some of the things that Shedeur Sanders in specific had to say at some of his interview, post practice interviews or whatever, because I thought he said some very, very telling things, that would again kind of suggest maybe a tad of what may have been going on this past season. Things that maybe we were led to believe, were not true, or maybe, like we're blowing things out of proportion. We don't know what we're talking about. Basically, ignore what your eyes are telling you and what you see, and just don't look at this. Just look over here, look over here, look over here. That sort of thing. So, just really quickly, I want to get into about 3 different clips here of Shedeur Sanders, just answering questions post practice, and I'll kind of give a breakdown as far as what I think, what I'm gonna interpret from what he's saying. It's not what he's saying, but what I'm interpreting from what it was he was saying. Okay, let's start with this one. I believe this one right here has to do with the playbook. Learning the new playbook, picking up the new playbook, how difficult it may be. What are the steps that you may be taking for learning the new playbook, etc., etc. Let's just take a listen here to what Shedeur has to say, because we listened last episode I did. We listened to Mary Kay Cabot, wanted to talk about how Jarvis Landry is lying and saying that, and we know that Jarvis is lying because Kevin Stefanski was in the office every day with Shedeur, and so just the Shedeur sabotage is just not true. It's just not true. And, she don't really have any like facts to back that up or anything. It's just, well, believe me, my sources are telling me that that's not the case. And, I still talk to these people and they say that they don't appreciate, spewing this misinformation that he gave up the play calling or that he sabotaged Shedeur. Let's listen to what Shedeur's got to say about this year's playbook and how he's learning it and how he's developing in it and all that kind of thing.
I think I know how I learn. I know how I learn. So knowing that I know how I learn is great. And the coaches are able to communicate in different ways to help you learn. And that's why I appreciate the coaching staff, honestly, because it's like you could say somebody don't know how to learn, but it's like, how did the person get all the way to this level if he don't know how to learn? So then you got to change the perspective and think, does he not know how to learn? Oh, mic drop. You know what I'm saying? But does he not know how to learn, or do I not know how to communicate with him? It's just simple as that. Like, so I'm just thankful that my coaches now, like, are extremely embracing.
So that was very, very, very interesting to me because one Jason Lloyd in particular, regular on UCSS as well as 923 The Fan, he loves to speak about how Shedeur basically doesn't know how to learn. He's not the best learner. He had to kind of be shown how to watch film and all of these different, talking points and narrative pushing points that he had. And I was on this channel saying, well, people learn differently. Some people, they learn from looking at the whiteboard and you just draw it, and then they can learn by looking at the chalkboard. Other people are hands-on learners. Like they have to actually have their hands in it to be able to learn exactly what it is that you're trying to teach them. Because them just looking at a board, and that's the only thing they could do is just look at the board, sometimes that might not resonate with them as well. And there's nothing wrong with that. Everyone learns differently. Pretty sure Albert Einstein didn't learn the same way that other people did. If I am mistaken, I think he graduated. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But I'm just saying. Different people have different ways of learning. They also have different ways of thinking. So to hear him saying, well, I know how I learn, and then go on this, little soliloquy, if you will, to kind of explain, like, well, it's easy to say that a person doesn't know how to learn. But maybe have you ever thought that maybe he don't know how to communicate to me in order for me to be able to learn it from him? That's what it seemed like. And then he mentioned that, my coaches now, which would mean, and I ain't saying he said this, I'm saying what I'm saying. I'm saying this. I ain't saying he said that. I'm saying this. Kevin didn't know how to communicate to that boy. And not only that, Kevin probably wasn't even trying to relay it to him in a way he could understand. Kevin was probably going out his way to make it even more complicated than it had to be, so that way he couldn't understand it. That's why it's taking all this time in the field room and all this other crap. Because you want to make sure it's confusing to where he can't really figure it out. Let's complicate this as much as I possibly can, and then when you don't get it, well, I'm just gonna say that you dumb and you don't know you don't know how to watch film, and you don't know what you're looking at, and all this other crap. When what was said about Todd Monken from the beginning, both from the outside sources as well as Todd Monken speaking himself and him saying, himself about how he's in the development business as a coach, and and again, one of the traits that Monken was said to have upon coming in as the new head coach was that he had the traits of being relatable. There wasn't a specific style of player and or quarterback that he needed to have in order to be successful, because he could relate to different styles of players and, different attitudes and different personalities, maybe even different vernacular. Some people give handshakes, other people give dap. I mean, you got to be able to maneuver through all of these different kinds of things as a head coach. You can't expect every player to be one way. You have to be the cookie cutter, and just every player is not Nick Chubb. And y'all even did him wrong. So what good did it do for him to shut up and be quiet and score touchdowns and hand the ball back to the referee? What good did it do for him to do that when y'all got rid of him? And you shouldn't have. I could care less if he blew both knees out. The way he was, you should have just kept him on the right. He should have been the Udonis Haslam of the team. I know that's a basketball reference, but I'm just saying. He should have been the Udonis Haslam of the team. He should just keep him on the team. Since since you thought he was such this model citizen, keep him on the team to be a veteran so he can teach the young guys, hey, be like this. Be quiet, shut your mouth. When you score a touchdown, don't celebrate. Just hand the ball back to the referee, go to the huddle. Bring your lunch pail to work and just go home. Why you ain't keep him around to teach that? Oh, you did him dirty. So what good did it do for him to shut his mouth and not celebrate when he scored touchdowns? It didn't really make a difference. Now did. So I thought that was very interesting, that Shedeur would bring that up, kind of just basically giving an ode to, the new coaches and their process and, apparently, how they deal with him and the fact that it seems that how they deal with him may be slightly different from the way he was being dealt with the previous regime, with the previous coaching staff, if you will. Let's take a listen to another short clip here of Shedeur and some of his post practice responses and some of the media questions he was getting. Let's take a listen to this.
The man at Colorado, at Jackson State, probably in high school, and not right away here. So I'm asking, what's that?
I feel like I was a man. I don't let nobody else dictate how I feel about myself. If you allow that, then you living for the wrong reasons. I know who I am as a person, as an individual, and just being a child of God. So I can't let nobody dictate how I could feel about myself. And if I allow that, then I'm not mentally strong. I got to be able to be mentally strong in each and every situation that life throws at you.
Another interesting answer. It was a fantastic answer as well because he was kind of, they love to try to bait him, which is absolutely ridiculous. For whatever reason, they love to try to bait this kid. And he doesn't take the bait. And in fact, and I'm going to talk about this at the end, in fact, he's getting really confident in switching this stuff, kind of switching it around back on you. Where it's like, now he giving you the bait. And it's like, are you going to take the bait and make yourself look foolish? Like, that's kind of what he's mastering here. And I think he's doing a great job at figuring out how to master this. Because the way the question was kind of formed to him, I know you couldn't hear the question in the beginning, but it was kind of like, basically, last year was a humbling experience, you know what I mean? And Shedeur was kind of like, humbling? Like, what you mean by that? Kind of like, basically, like, what you mean by that? It was humbling, you know what I mean? Like, what's that? What is that supposed to mean? You know what I mean? Because it was kind of presented in this way of like, yeah, you had to shut the F up and basically learn up under Kevin, learn how to do everything the correct way, the proper way. Last year humbled you. You was just wrist up and, we shut all that down. NFL shut all that down. That's why he asked, like, what you mean by that? And so I guess the guy tried to clear it up, a little bit and be like, well, I mean, you was the starter, Jackson State, you was the man, so to speak, you was the starter, you was the man over there at Colorado, and you get here initially and maybe, you know what I'm saying, it wasn't necessarily like that, you just wasn't, you wasn't the starter, just wasn't the man off rip, or whatever. And then, like I say, he sounded like he gave a fantastic answer where he was like, I mean, I felt like I was the man. Yeah, if I only feel like I'm the man just because somebody else feel like I'm the man, well then I'm going about life all wrong. Like, that doesn't make any sense. I should be able to wake up every day myself and just feel like I'm the man, I'm that dude. I should be able to wake up every day and feel like I'm that dude. And respectfully, that's the confidence that I want my quarterback to have. I want my quarterback to be able to wake up every day and be like, I'm that man. And don't nobody else got to tell me that I'm him. I know I'm him. Whether you feel like I'm him or not, I feel like I'm him. You need that type of mentality if you finna be able to win the starting job, and if you do win the starting job, to keep it. You're going to have to feel like you him. Because if you don't feel like him, I'm pretty sure it's going to show out there on the football field, right? So again, it seemed like, you're trying to paint this kid in a certain corner, you know what I mean, to be a certain way. And again, he's kind of showing you like, I'm me. You know what I mean? I'm me, and I'm gonna be me. And again, in just a second, when we get to the end here, I'm kind of dig into that a little bit deeper. Here's where Shedeur speaks about the vibe. There seems to be like a new vibe, a new energy, in the practice facility and around the locker room and in the weight room. And it's just this new energy that seems to be going around, this new vibe. All of a sudden, when you get a new coach, a guy that's relatable to the players, not a guy that seems like a robot and doesn't really want to talk too much, doesn't curse, doesn't swear, doesn't really seem too authentic either. He doesn't seem to be authentic. He really doesn't. The only thing he seems to be authentic to is pushing a pencil. That's it. He seems to be authentic to Ivy League stuff, which is just all I know is numbers. I just know numbers. I don't know interpersonal relationships because those aren't numbers. To me, people are numbers. They're numbers. So I know the numbers. So when it comes to trying to talk to somebody, I don't necessarily know how to do that unless we're talking numbers. So this new vibe, this new energy that seems to be going around, throughout the Browns organization. Let's listen to what Shedeur had to say about what should also maybe come along with this new vibe, this new energy that's going around.
Coach Monken great, and all the other coaches on the staff is extremely great. You can understand and embrace you just as a person, then they push you each and every day, in the meeting room and on the field, in the weight room. Like, it's a new vibe, it's a new energy. The only thing we missing is y'all. We need y'all to have a new vibe, new energy. I know y'all want us to win, so we need some winning energy here. You know what I'm saying? We can't have too much negativity going on, and you want our players to be the best version of ourselves for y'all. So I think it's a community thing. I think we all, like as a group, have to, because everybody's gonna have kids. Everybody has that. You don't want your kids to be the side effects of, what I'm saying, what you done did in life, the negativity and all this different type of stuff. You don't want that. So let's approach even this, like with a better attitude, like even coming from y'all also. Coach Monken great.
That is absolutely golden. Oh, that is golden. That is golden. Great job, young man. Great job. That is golden. So we all know that especially me here on this channel, I have been going at local Cleveland media because they don't do anything except push narratives. And for the past 5 years, they've been able to get away with not doing their job. Just listen to whatever Kevin tells you. And then whatever Kevin told you, just get in front of a camera and spew that. Kevin told you don't know how to read defense. All right, just get up there and say that. Kevin said that Dylan is the supercomputer. All right, just get up there and say that. As a matter of fact, I'm going to get to that about the Dylan thing in a minute. But that was beautiful that Shedeur called out the media and said, like, hey, man, y'all too. Why don't y'all let's get a new vibe. Let's get a new energy. Let's stop all this negativity. Let's stop trying to ask me all these weirdo questions, you know what I'm saying, to try to paint me in a bad light. Let's stop doing that. Let's not do that anymore, man. Let's get away from that. Let's try something new here. Why do we have to continue to do the negative stuff? I mean, you want to win, right? Let's create some winning energy. Let's instead of looking at everything like, oh, woe is me, and the Browns are trash, and we suck, and we don't have any quarterbacks, and in the quarterback we need to draft Todd Simpson. Instead of doing all that, like, why don't we just look at, hey, man, we got a new coach who's supposed to be good at offense. He's supposed to fix the offense. He seems excited about his quarterback room. He doesn't seem to be just so down on his quarterback room. He seems to be excited. He wants to get to work. He seems to be all about football. It seems like that's the only thing he really want to entertain is just football. I'm ready to get to football. Like, even in the one interview, Monken talking about, I'm saying to the players, man, this is the best thing in the world. How could you not be fired up about this? Forget the money and all this other crap. You get to play football for a living. How could you not be fired up about this? I mean, this is a guy that clearly, Football, he don't want to do anything else except football. Football is life. Okay? Ball is life for him. And I absolutely love it. So for me, it's just like this. Instead of spitting these narratives, well, Monken, if he doesn't get the quarterback, Monken will only be here 1 year and then he's gonna be fired and blah, blah, blah. Instead of that, talk about how fired up he is to get to work, how much of a football guy he seems to be, how authentic he seems to be, how he seems to be relating to the players. You know what I'm saying? At a high level. Like, why not talk about that kind of stuff? Because that wasn't the stuff, because that ain't the stuff you used to talking about. That ain't the stuff Kevin was telling you to say. Okay? Because Kevin wanted to keep telling you to say all this stuff so that Kevin didn't look bad. And you just so used to that, you don't know how to do anything else. It's like you scared to do something different. It's like you scared to move to a newer generation or a new iteration of the Browns. Where maybe it's got a little bit of style to it, a little bit of swag to it, something new. Why are you scared of that? That other stuff wasn't working. It hasn't worked since '99. So why not try something new? And respectfully, if you don't want to try, well, then just go cheer for another team then. Go cheer for the Patriots or something like that. Go do that. They seem to be real cookie cutter, straightforward over there. Go cheer for them. I'm pretty sure they'll be excited to have you. Vrabel was here in the building last year anyway. He'll accept you with open arms. So go over there. And respectfully, with the way that he's talking, with the way that Shedeur is talking, he wasn't talking in these interviews like this last year. Now, I'm not saying that he's saying anything off the wall or anything like that, or, you know what I mean, like being too cocky or arrogant or anything like that. But what I am saying is, it seems like with this new coaching staff, they are allowing him to be himself. I think it seems like Monken is like, hey, look, be you. Just don't go out there and make yourself look like a fool, and don't go out there and make me look like a fool. Because if you do, I'm gonna hold you accountable. So as long as you can, assure me that, man, be yourself. Be you. I want you to be you. I want you to feel comfortable in being you as well. How can I expect to get the best out of you if you don't even feel like you can be yourself? How I'm supposed to be able to relate to you or talk to you or coach you if you don't even feel like you could be yourself around me or just in a Browns uniform? Like you just can't be yourself. I feel like time. And then, there's a quote that Shedeur said. I don't want to go through too much because I don't want the video to be too long. But there was another interview where he's like, Coach Monken breathed life into me. Like, now he ain't never said anything negative about Stefanski, but he didn't use these type of terminology, these type of buzzwords, this type of vernacular when he was trying to describe the relationship between him and Kevin Stefanski. He didn't say anything negative about Stefanski, but it wasn't all this. It wasn't, man. He breathed life into me. Like he's speaking life into me. And like this is this type of stuff that I need. This is what I relate to. This is great. You could just feel it. You could tell the difference from day one. From day one when Monken got here and he was in the building and he met with him and he embraced him and, played, hey, man, we tried to get you. Remember that? And it's carried over into the first day of any type of practice where they get together and work on stuff. How's about that? What do you know? So to me, it seems like he got the green light to go ahead and be himself. And in closing real quick, so we could just Mary Kay happen because there always has to be this narrative that is pushed. Okay, clearly we either looking at Shedeur being the starter or Deshaun Watson. Possibly Shedeur because he the one who got the most the most reps or whatever or what have you. But he wasn't the only one. Both Shedeur and Deshaun was getting first team reps. That wasn't happening under Stefanski's watch for whatever reason. But we got multiple quarterbacks getting first team reps. So that way, just in case something go down, something go wrong or whatever. And not only that, you get to get a good look at everybody on an even playing field. That's how a true quarterback competition should go. Makes sense. But let's get what Mary Kay happened. because she, for some reason, wants us to not forget about, Dylan Gabriel. And again, like I say, with all the things that we could be, talking about, you know, the one place that we always speak positive and never have spoken negatively about, even up until this point, is Dylan Gabriel. Let's listen to what Mary Kay has to say about Dylan for whatever reason.
It really is right now, but I can't help but think that Dylan Gabriel is going to surprise this coaching staff as they move along. The ball for Dylan comes out really well. He throws a really, really nice ball. It's got good velocity, good revolution on that ball. It usually goes where he wants it to. Remember this about Dylan Gabriel right now in this competition. He is working with the last line of players, right? So he is not throwing the ball to Cedric Tillman and Isaiah Bond right now. He's throwing the ball to, and Jerry Jeudy wasn't even here today. So he's throwing the ball to guys that might have it picked off from them more so than some of the first or second line guys. It's different for him. Last year, he was getting the first team reps, as we mentioned. So I think that he's going to show out better in this competition than the current coaching staff expects him to. It really is, right?
Well, first of all, how do you know how the current coaching staff expects him to perform in this quarterback competition? How do you know? Because in the last episode that I did, I pointed out how you still talking to coaches that we fired from last year. You still talking to them. So how you got time to, how you know what the new coaches expect to see from Dylan Gabriel? How you know? You ain't talking to them, you talking to the old coaches and how they don't like the fact that Jarvis Landry is saying that Kevin was giving up the play call. That's who you talking to. That's who you talking to. So this is ridiculous. And not only that, you make an excuse. Let's remember, he's not throwing to, he's throwing to, last year Shedeur was throwing the garbage cans and equipment staff. And y'all said that it was perfectly fine, that there was nothing wrong with that. Like that's what he should be doing. So now all of a sudden, you trying to throw these little nuggets in there like, hey, just remember, if Dylan Gabriel throws these interceptions, remember he's throwing the guys that it might be easier to intercept the ball from them than the people that the other quarterbacks is throwing to. That wasn't working for Shedeur. Y'all wasn't accepting that when we was telling you that about Shedeur, when we like, okay, who is Shedeur throwing to? Quinshon Judkins, them last couple games, Quinshon Judkins was hurt. Harold Fanny Jr. got hurt. Who was he throwing the ball to? Who did Shedeur have out there to throw the ball to? We ain't even going to talk about the offensive line. He had none of the starters from on the offensive line. So who did he have? But remember, everything that he did bad was 100% on him. It wasn't the fact that he got trash wide receivers and that he wasn't getting no first team reps. It ain't had nothing to do with none of that. And not only that, if Shedeur that good, he should have been ready. You don't need no first team reps. So Dylan, you don't need no first team reps neither. What you need them for? You don't need them. The third string quarterback don't get no first team reps. That's what we were told. So everything's going according to plan. Don't try to change it now. Don't try to move the goalposts now. Dylan not supposed to get no first team reps. He's supposed to be throwing to the equipment staff. In fact, he should be on a separate field. Okay? Throwing to the ball boys and to the garbage cans. He shouldn't even be on the same field with Deshaun Watson. And not only that, Coach Monken, if y'all ask Coach Monken about Dylan Gabriel, Coach Monken should not say Dylan Gabriel's name, and he should deflect and then start talking about Shedeur. If we get that happen, everything come full circle, and then there we go. That means we're doing this process is going 100% correctly. That means we're on board for success. Stop it. I can't. So, as things go forward, we'll listen to how the media likes to spin their narratives and everything, even after, there's so many of us that are just tired of the Cleveland local media and their garbage spewing. and the fact that they don't actually really like to do their jobs. They don't do any research. They're not looking at anything. They're not watching any film. They don't know anything about football. Don't believe they ever played any football. Especially like the Jason Lloyds and the Daryl Ryters and I think Nick Petone is one of them. Like a lot of these guys, you look at them, you like, yeah, you ain't never played no football before. Yeah, bro. I think you ever did anything athletic before. I don't know. Maybe you played soccer or something like that. You know what I'm saying? But it looked like you was in the chess club. I know you can't judge a book by its cover. I ain't saying that. I'm just saying though. Like show me what high school did they go to and they played organized sports, organized football. Like you know what I'm saying? Come on, man. So we'll see going forward. So far I love the fact that Monken is very outspoken and straightforward, so that way media can't paint their narratives because Monken is flat out telling you exactly what it is. As far as the quarterback competition, how the reps is being distributed, why the reps are being distributed that way, everything. He's laying it out for you. That way you don't have to make up your own interpretation of what it is. But I know that they still going to do it. So don't worry, we'll be here to debunk it all as we move forward. And we will be looking towards the draft tonight. Should be taking place in about 3.5 hours here. We'll definitely be tuned in. I'm all for Carnell Tate at number 6. You need to get wide receivers. You need to get a wide receiver. You need a guy. You need a guy. You need a guy. Not just a wide receiver. You need a guy, and you need to draft one instead of trying to trade for one or acquire one from somebody else or free agency, blah, 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 all that. Nope, draft you a guy. I can't remember the last time you done it as an organization. So draft a guy. Number 6, Carnell Tate. Let's get it. Dogs on the couch, signing off.